down. Stop. Now that we got the motor resting in the car, it's time to talk about mounting it. And this is going to be, I shouldn't say the first time because we have it on the FDS 15, but this is gonna be the first time in a long time that we've motor plated a car. Essentially what's gonna happen is this will bolt to the engine and then it's gonna tie into the frame rails. Mind you, this will get cut down. And to do this, we've got the homie Andy in town, and not only has he done this on drift cars, he actually does this quite often with drag racing stuff. So with drag racing, if you were mounting a big block to a chassis, how would that go?
Same thing, we do a motor plate in the front, then we do a mid plate in the back. That way the motor is standalone from the transmission. In drag racing, unless it's an auto car, you're constantly taking the transmission out every run. So
we got some research to do. Anyway, what I was gonna say is this may look like a pretty thin piece of metal to only have this and a trans mount holding the engine in with no mid plate. Steve Morris is actually gonna build us a beautiful billet piece, but he asked us to use this kind of as a guide. So Andy will make this and build his mounts off of this. Then we'll send it back to Steve Morris, and then he'll go into his fancy CNC and he'll make us a beautiful billet piece that'll be twice as strong. Keep in mind, we're going to be lowering the rack, which will give us a little bit more clearance. So if it doesn't fit, we have a little bit of room to play with. But I think it's hilarious that the hump's like in the perfect spot. I mean, that like could not be any more perfect. And it's gonna come down some too. So if you look right now, there's a wood block between this and the rack, and we're actually able to move the rack farther down. So we'll probably gain another like 2 inches of clearance.
You'll be good there.
That will actually allow us to move the engine a little farther back too, huh, Andy?
Yep.
So when you're doing something like this, one of the things to always keep in mind is serviceability. Now, one of the common things you do on a drift car is check, inspect, change, clutch, transmission. So this area in here is really important because you want to make sure you have enough room to be able to not only access bell housing bolts, but to be able to remove the bell housing. Now, one cool thing is that the G-Force GSR transmission that we're going to be using is technically only 4 bolts. So you're able to pull the trans without having to remove the bell housing, but to remove the clutch, you still have to pull the bell housing off. A lot of people are curious what I'm going to be running for driveline components. I am planning to run the same GSR G-Force 4-speed that I run in all the other drift cars, and the same clutch. That's a special clutch we have with Clutch Masters that's still in its development phase. Just because I believe in those parts so much that I think it will have no issue with this amount of torque. We make the same amount of torque in the E36, so I think it'll work, but it's a great way to kind of show off how strong some of the parts that we use in the other car are, if it can handle all the abuse. We were kind of just having an interesting discussion, and I don't know how much this will hold true, but one of our theories, and kind of like what we apply to the green car, is when you have more mid-range, you're less abusive on the clutch because you have to do less clutch kicks. So I'll actually be curious to see if on this, because it makes the torque earlier and you won't need to be clutch dumping as much to flash through the wheel speed, maybe it'll also be less abusive because there's less shot going to the drivetrain. We're talking about like what my first reactions are going to be. I stand true to this, and this is really important that your motor mount is like as rigid as possible. All that I want is to have my chassis twist when I rev it on the line. Like I want to be up there and just be like, "Hur, hur." People are actually saying, so this is actually a real thing, right? They will set up certain cars that have like all this inertia to counteract the extra load that it puts on that rear corner. So I'm curious in drifting if we're gonna notice that.
Yeah, do you know that in drag racing, the rear wheels on like the Pro mods that we build are actually tweaked?
Just to account for the twist?
Yeah, to account the twist, yeah.
Interesting.
Imagine we start needing to do it on drift cars. Like, we're laughing about it, but that's the next step.
Go down that road.
I know. That's my goal, is to go down that road. guys are enjoying this project, I wanted to remind you that all of this and us getting to explore these new avenues of what we think could be the future of drifting is massively made possible by Coinbase. And if you aren't familiar with Coinbase, it is the #1 most trusted place to buy, sell, and use cryptocurrency. They got a bunch of enthusiasts on the team that love cars, reached out, wanted to sponsor something cool, and this project has been in my mind and wanting to make happen for a long time. And I'm massively appreciative of them. And if you guys want to get free $20 of Bitcoin when you make your first trade, just use the code BUILDERS20. We're not advising or pushing you towards any specific coin, but if you are interested, we're just sending you towards the most trusted platform to learn and explore everything that comes along with crypto.
All right, Andy, what have we been getting into? Well, what have you been getting into? I've just been filming you.
Most of the day I've just been trying to work out how to make this alternator work. Most of the time, big block motors like this, especially in drag cars, they don't have alternators on them. Now, I know he does the drag and drive stuff, so obviously he's going to.
Yeah.
But like most of the drag stuff I do, they'll have big giant turbo smart batteries that get charged every run. So we're just trying to work the motorsports alternator around all the sensors and all that stuff, so we can trim up the plate and shove it in and put the mounts on the chassis. Oh, and do the horrible job of cutting up the firewall so we can set the motor back a little bit further. Pretty much had to make everything. Put an idler pulley in it. Had to adapt. Basically, it's a JZ alternator.
Yep.
It's, God's motor.
We have 15 of the JZ alternators.
Yeah, of course. We got trying to use everything we have here. So went over to Drift HQ, stole some S13 tension rod thing off the shelf, and utilizing what we have here.
I love that it's kind of like a hodgepodge of every car, but it's going to make this work perfect.
Oh, absolutely.
That's racing, baby.
At a certain point, everything aftermarket's just aftermarket.
Yeah.
It's not like we're putting stock parts on it.
What we got going on here, sir?
Oh, hold on. Let me pause my music.
What are you listening to right now?
I'm listening. I was made for loving you by Kiss.
One of those TikToks.
Yeah. We're cutting this out right here to try and push the motor back as far as possible. So we'll cut this out and make it like a cover plate, to make it look factory again.
Nice and smooth.
Yeah.
And that's just because of
Clarence.
Clarence.
Yeah.
Is it for the bell housing?
Yes.
There's
we need to take the housing off to service the clutch. Gotta make sure we maintain that.
You need to be able to get your fingies in there.
Yes.
Like you talk about doing it all professionally, and then it just cuts to the next clip, and you're just
the disc goes flying. Well,
I don't think you needed that anymore.
nope.
But now we know it was smoking.
Yeah, this is a good fire starter right here.
Maybe one of those things where we get a big hammer and give her a massage.
That's cool though that like there's another layer back there.
Still keeps its structure.
Yeah, so if you ever board slide this thing.
There we go!
Please don't. No, it wasn't your fault.
Tomato, potato.
I mean, he was driving.
I think it should be mentioned that like we didn't have to do all this stuff. Like it would literally just bolt in like a factory in. Well, not like that, but it would have bolted in and fit. We're just trying to make everything as perfect as possible because I want the weight balance of the car to feel good. So like even if it takes us an extra day of like cutting and modifying things, moving the rack down, removing some sections here, to be able to get the engine an extra like 2 or 3 inches back translates huge into driver feel. The more you can put the engine behind the strut towers, the better. We need to go up though to get past. Dude, the car all locked up together. There's actually like a decent amount of room too. I don't know if you can see through here, but we could even put a taller plenum on there if we wanted. All right, can we pop the hood as it unhinges, or should we just pick it up?
Damn. First look. That's insane.
Fits in there so good.
Yeah.
So I know a big part of this process that I've seen a lot of you guys commenting about is the headers, and I'm excited to let you guys know that we've got the homie Ginge here, who happens to work at a place called
Apparel Technologies, yeah.
and he brought over an extremely fancy ferro arm. So what this does is it 3D scans everything. If you remember, we did a really similar process on the Supra when we were going through our header stuff, and I kind of gave a little hint that this was coming, and that everything that we learned and everything that we've been building on with the 4-rotor, with sound, with power, will all come into play when it comes to designing these headers. So Ginge will get a scan for us that will allow us to go and 3D model everything in here. And I can tell you, not only is power going to be a concern of this, but sound is going to be of the utmost importance, because I've personally never heard a big block that sounded really, I don't want to say that sounded really cool, because they all sounded cool, but I want this thing to sound high pitch, almost as if it was an 8-to-1 setup. We don't have room for that, but I am going to be working with someone that's going to do their best to give us the craziest sound imaginable, and that'll probably be an update once we get to the next video. Thank you, Ginge, for the scan.
No problem.
Don't forget your new pants and your new jersey. A token of thank you from me. I already showed you guys the pants in the last video, super sick. We got our own version, we call them the paddock pants. They're sick, I've been wearing them all week, but we also just got in our official 2025 jerseys. I'm fired up. We went with a little bit of classic theme, kind of like this livery. We got the gold going on. I think it's our coolest jerseys we've done yet. And if you guys know from last year, these things sell out and they take us a while to get because it's a full custom cut and sew piece. They're available now, so if you guys want to head over to the site, pick one up, support the team. I think you'll really like the pants. I know pants are kind of weird, and I'm sorry if we don't have your size. Ordering pants is really complicated, but I'm really happy with how they came out, and I hope you are too. I'm actually super excited because this is the first time I've driven this car since I've been back in Florida. The AC hasn't been working, and it's been like 100 degrees every single day, so I'm pretty excited. Like, the temptation of having a brand new fresh build and not driving it at all. Thankfully I get to drive in Atlanta a little bit, but you're about to experience one of my favorite SR20s ever.
Oh, perfect.
It's a great car. Oh yeah, do I do that again? Do that again? Hell yeah, I gotta lean with you. And a couple little updates. I don't remember if I complained about it in the last video, but it was making a bunch of noise through the trans tunnel and it was driving me nuts. What it actually was, there's a trans boot here. It's like a secondary boot, and it was slipping off. So it was essentially like I had a hole here straight down to the transmission. That in conjunction with the aluminum drive shaft, which I changed to a steel one, shout out Drive Shaft Pro, stuffed with cardboard, I think reduced the drivetrain noise significantly. So hopefully it doesn't do any of the crazy rattle stuff, but I will film it and I'll let you know if it's satisfactory or not. Oh, got me with the radar, my guy. Tell me what it sounds like, you ready?
Yes. It sounds like straight VTEC.
Doesn't it?
It had like super low, like VTEC at like 2,000 RPM.
That's exactly what the first time I floored it in that same exact spot, I was like, it sounds like a goddamn Honda. Selfie record while I give you a rip.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a 2-3, Ginge. You ready? Ginge will give you a 2-3.
That's pretty good.
We'll give you a better one. We were spinning. I had some heat in the tires now.
Now you do 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, hell yeah. I don't think it's gonna hit very good in
The
one.
Corolla SE wants it.
Oh, I'm a smoker.
Alright.
Alright, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Oh, that's so good.
It's so quiet.
I love it. It just makes me giggle.
It's like all the turbo noise. It just. I love that it's also an S chassis because it's like all my other cars have big power. I feel like they're not drift cars, so that like I don't feel like I can do what I need to with them. This thing, it's an S chassis. I know what to do.
It's so fun, just scooting.
Yeah, it's so quiet.
Yeah.
Ginge's first time ever going to Indian Sizzler. My favorite restaurant in the world. I'm so excited. My favorite thing in the world is bringing people who haven't been to Indian Sizzler. If you're ever in Titusville and you have a chance to go to Indian Sizzler, I'm gonna roll through them so they don't.
Okay.
Freddie joined us for our Sizzler date.
What are you doing?
Mango curry. Ginge, I need you to rate it.
Yo, this is weird pizza.
You've never had naan before?
No, I have.
Oh. Try it. Tell me. Eat.
Not pizza.
It's the next day.
It's the next day. So for some reason, I'm a glutton for punishment because Adam always finds bigger motors that don't fit in cars. So this one is a big block and it don't fit right there. The bell housing needs to be able to be removed for, you know, quick access for if the clutch ever goes or anything happens like that, you can remove the trans without having to remove the whole motor. So we're just making a little bit of excess room. So I'm gonna start by, I don't like doing it, but I'm gonna do it first just because time crunch. I'm gonna cut out that main brace right there, and then I'm gonna take a huge hammer and do like they used to back in the day, because it actually is within spec. You can beat the hell out of your trans tunnel if you want to, and mold it and see if I can get it. And if not, if I can't shape the metal how I want, I'm just gonna cut it out and I'm gonna make a new trans tunnel. Where it needs to be, just enough. I need about 3 inches for the bell housing to be removed and drop down out of it, with the trans connected to it. So there's only so far it can go back as well because it's on an engine plate, so it has to be able to drop down and move out.
Okay.
So we're gonna play the F around and find out game.
The car massage game.
Yeah, we're gonna massage it a little bit first, knead the meat, and then if it don't work, we're gonna carve it out. Now remember, don't do this to your car unless you have it fully caged, because certain cross braces are meant to keep your car square.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a cage in there and you start cutting stuff out, it's really gonna mess up your car and it's not gonna be able to be aligned properly. It's always gonna ride wrong.
Yeah.
So after your cage, then you cut. So if you're making a car, build your cage and then cut all your crap out. Don't do it the other way around.
No.
You won't enjoy life.
Yeah.
Neither will the guy trying to align your car. This is why we don't plasma cut in here, Mike.
Right.
This stuff is.
This looks like that angel food cake.
It does. No.
No. So I went to this really cool metal shaping class for Bailey, and half of the people that make cool like gas tanks and for motorcycles, they literally take a mallet and beat the crap out of it on a big wooden log. So when I came back from there, I'm like, all right, I can beat the hell out of anything. They're doing it with aluminum. You know, I can definitely do it with steel. So grab you a big old purse and start swinging it. You know, it ain't that bad. Get yourself some ear protection though.
Yeah.
Love it.
It'll fit.
Need a bigger hammer.
Before. After.
I think I got my 3 inches I needed. And some cardio.
Yeah.
What do you listen to while you do that?
Right now, Coldplay.
I would have been so happy if you said Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
Well, no, I was listening to the playlist, but somehow Coldplay, one Coldplay song got it. It's been a good one.
All right, so I think that's gonna wrap up the first installment, see what I did there, of the big block going into the F22. Ginge actually came back today because he wanted to scan the engine bay without the engine in, just so he could get all up in these specific areas. Cricket got the trans tunnel with plenty of room, so now the bell housing can come out without having to remove the engine. Obviously it's gonna get cleaned up and we'll make it look a little prettier. And then he can also scan the engine out of the car, which will allow him to get a lot more detail and into the crevices that he wasn't able to before. So thank you, Ginge.
No problem.
I appreciate it. Next step will be designing the headers. Probably won't be in the next video physically making the headers, but there's a lot of progress to still come on this car. It's not gonna be a super quick timeline, but it's gonna be our biggest area of focus, so it's not gonna be something that's gonna be pushed on the back burner. I know we've been talking about this car for a while, but now that we got the engine, it's full speed ahead, and I'm stoked that y'all are stoked. It's gonna be super cool, and I hope you guys enjoy this video.